Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back to the TeamIslas podcast, episode 18. My name is Doug Bush, and today I'm joined by
Patricia Islas
and
Zach Shear.
And this is the podcast for anyone looking to better themselves in percussion education. Percussive Arts Society International Convention, aka PASIC. PASIC. Yeah, friends, this is a once-a-year international convention. And if you are listening to this and you are a percussionist and you have never been, I implore you, friend, save your money, get a ticket, and go. You will have a wonderful time. 100% Doug Bush guarantee. I've been to PASIC with many hats. Not as many hats as Mr. Shear, maybe, but I've been as a student and a clinician and a performer and an educator. And every single time, it's been a wonderful experience.
I would also just add, before we gush about PASIC, this is just us really reflecting on all the times we've been, and specifically the last time we've been in 2025. This is not an ad for PASIC. They didn't pay us, right? Like we're not cashing our check from PASIC after this episode. This is just our genuine.
We're not.
No. Okay.
Hey, friends, don't forget to leave that 5-star review. Step one is.
But we were just like genuinely talking about how we had a great time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we were like, we should share about that and talk about just our experiences overall. In terms of PASIC 2025 specifically, I don't know the exact number, but I know before the convention and after the convention, I confirmed, or I heard, confirmation from Joshua Simonds. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. The guy who's, I believe, the executive director, that this was, if not the biggest PASIC ever, one of the biggest.
Wow.
This 50th anniversary one that they had this year. Mm-hmm. And I certainly felt that.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely makes the convention, I think, better for everybody when everybody comes.
Yeah.
Right?
It does.
I mean, one of the things that's so exciting and fun about the convention is you see in the drum set world these festivals and conventions that are amazing and full of these heavies, right? But PASIC is like the only that I can think of, like, it's all of percussion. You have your drum set heavies. I mean, Ash Sowen was there, Jeff Hamilton, Dave Weckl. I mean, just all these monsters, But you also have the Santa Clara Vanguard, right? Or the University of North Texas, or what, there's all percussion is welcome there. And so the people you run into, the diversity.
Oh, yes.
we go to lots of different conventions. You go to a convention, a movie convention, or a comic convention, or whatever, fill in the blank, right? And you see the same kind of clientele. The diversity of the clientele at PASIC. I mean, you have like literal rock stars. I remember when Mastodon was there once.
Yeah.
And Mastodon's guitarist is just, not the drummer, the guitarist. He's just walking through the convention hall. No one knows who this guy is, right?
Yeah.
And it's like he's selling out giant, and that's one of the fun things about PASIC. I think.
So I think I had a front row seat to that this year, Mr. Bush, because this was like you said, I've worn a lot of different hats at PASIC.
You just wear a lot of different hats in life, Mr. Shear.
But like this year, I was, for the first time, I was like with a company at PASIC, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm there at the Dynasty Titan booth. And so I spoke directly to more people that I didn't know, right? Like just as part of my role. Mm-hmm. And, I would go up to people, introduce myself, start a conversation, and then ask them about themselves and what they do. And it's like the answers, I never got the same answer twice. And they're like so unpredictable. It could be like, I study the effect of the gamelan music in India on whatever, and I'm here for this one, research paper presentation. Yeah. Or it could be like, I'm a band mom from BOA across the street, Or it could be like, I walked up to a guy introduced myself, talked to him, and he was like, I live in New York. I play in Broadway musicals. Like I'm a drum set in Broadway musicals. I was like, wow, that's incredible. And then obviously, especially with BOA in town, I spoke to like, guys who teach at Avon, or like you said, I spoke to Paul Rennick. I spoke to Dave Weckel. I also said hi to Chris Lamb. Like, like, wow, this is amazing, and I think that's one thing that is unique about PASIC, and actually is different about PASIC than the other conventions we have the opportunity to go to as music educators, right? Like TMEA, TBA, Midwest, PASIC. I feel like those are kind of the big ones, and then other state conventions, right? Like your music convention in your state. They all have awesome things about them. I think the coolest thing about PASIC is it's kind of a good opportunity to see how actually small our world is. And that is reflected, like we've said, in the artists. Like you can say hi to Akira Jimbo and then to Chris Lamb, and then to the Mastodon guitar player. But also on the company side, I think it's a really cool opportunity to have a direct connection to these companies that you use their products, or maybe you don't. You want to know more about their products. And it's cool to realize, like, hey, this isn't Amazon here. Like, I can think of multiple companies that like you can walk up to and have a conversation with, either the guy who founded the company, guy or girl, who founded the company or is the current owner of the company. You can maybe speak to someone who actually makes the product, especially with some of the smaller companies, and that opportunity doesn't exist, I think, at a lot of other conventions. And it certainly doesn't exist for like everything from heads to sticks to cymbals to this company that I've never heard of that makes these weird, cool metal things over here, composers, arrangers, right? Yeah. Like you want to talk to some people. I'm thinking about playing this guy's music, or I'm thinking about hiring this girl as an arranger. They're probably there.
Yeah.
You can just walk right up to them and have a direct connection to, like I said, composer, arranger, founder, owner, craftsman of the thing you want to use.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about going to PASIC is just connecting with different people. The longer you're in this activity, the more interactions you have in different corners of the world sometimes. And you might see that person once and then not see them again for years and years and years. And then you happen to be at the same PASIC and you cross each other in the hallway. And because this community is so small and because, we have this shared love of music and percussion, there's just this instant connection again. It almost feels like that span of time, whether it was 6 months since you last saw them at drum corps or 10 years or 15 years since you saw them in college. It doesn't matter because you're still speaking the same language.
Absolutely. And I don't know how this will come off. I was going to say this might sound a little awkward, but maybe not. Many of my most memorable purchases of equipment were done at PASIC, and namely cymbals, because there's like a uniqueness to the quality. When you're talking high-end cymbals, they're for the most part still handmade, right? So you can have 3 models next to each other. They're all quote unquote identical, but different weights, different hammering patterns, and so the opportunity, like you said, to be able to go from booth to booth there live and listen and then be like, yeah, this one that looks like a shield a Spartan would have used. Yeah. Right? But this sounds like a chorus of angels singing. Like I have multiple memories of like the excitement. Especially at North Texas, I can remember like saving my money for months. And I'm taking jazz studies and I'm going to get a good jazz ride cymbal, right? And kind of that hunt and that excitement. Like you said, it's not Amazon. Like you don't get the same thing just going online, and like there's excitement of being a person, of getting to check out the gear live and getting to hear the things performed live in a venue in which like everyone is passionate about percussion, right? This year at the 2025, I remember seeing Ash Sohan do a clinic, and I remember the Santa Clara Vanguard doing a clinic, and Ash Sohan and Paul Rennick both said at their clinics respectively how exciting it is to perform at PASIC because the audience is so genuinely appreciative of it. And now, I don't know, this could be more a reflection of me than in reality, but I imagine if I was one of those young drummers for the Santa Clara Vanguard that just threw down, my gosh, they sounded incredible. It was such a joy to listen to. The Doug Bush of 20 years old probably would have thought like, oh, that was a dirty, horrible bag. Because I would be comparing it to like DCI finals, where I had just played every day, all day for 3 months, right? But I'm telling you, every human that was sitting next to us, from Edward Freytag, one of the most, accomplished percussion arrangers to live, right? To like this high school student from Lebanon Trail or whatever that's playing quads, right? Universally, everyone's just like, that was unbelievable. This is a meaningful musical moment that that's gonna stay with me. You don't get that from a TikTok video on your phone.
No.
It's alive in person. You feel it. You feel the atmosphere. You feel it. That only happens in a situation like that. And I think that's one of the things that makes it so special, right? Is that the audience is kind of in on it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mr. Bush, you hit on a couple things there that I think I agree with 100%. And you talked about how that had an impact on you, or still does have an impact on you. But also, I know when I have gone to PASIC as a teacher and I've brought students, they feel that in like a way it's almost hard to describe the impact. Like if it's still affecting us, how many times have we been to PASIC?
Oh,
yes.
I know,
right?
I know.
You bring some kid who didn't even know this existed before. And I know like and in multiple ways, right? Like you were talking about gear. And I remember one of the times we went to PASIC at Capel, you talked about cymbals, but I thought about sticks. I remember telling them like, there's this company, it's called Cooperman, and they make all these really cool sticks. And you can go to the booth and try out. It's like picking a wand in Harry Potter, right? It's like, like I want rosewood, 67.23 grams, and they were kind of like, what? But then I was like, just trust me, go to the booth, and all these kids came back with these like, oh, Mr. Shearer, look what I got. And like, oh, he chose the persimmon, and like whatever. But it's like, you don't get that experience. They were just they nerded out so hard on it. Because it's like, they probably met the guy who made them, and that's a thing you can only do at PASIC. But then also, the performances, like you said, like the impact that has on your students. So if you're a teacher and you have the opportunity, or you're thinking about what would it be like to take my kids to PASIC, separate from whether or not they're going to compete or perform, that's obviously a wonderful opportunity. But if you can just get them there, I can say with confidence from experience, it can do something to light a fire in them that is different than what you can do just in the classroom. And it's really like the first time we went, I remember distinctly where I was in the convention center when some of the kids turned to me and they were like, so Mr. Shearer, when are we like making a tape again so we can come back? And I was like, woo, I'm tired. I'm tired. Y'all slow your roll. But they were just like, even though they had been through a lot of really hard work to get there in the first place, they were like chomping at the bit to come back. And I didn't do that. The convention did that.
It wasn't a type of situation where they'd worked so hard all semester to be able to manage marching band and PASIC and all of these things. And then they played the concert and they went to the convention. It was kind of like, well, maybe the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. No. It was exactly the opposite. Like, the experience was great, not just from the performance standpoint, but getting to see all of the stuff in the exhibit halls and getting to hear all these amazing musicians of all sorts of different styles and flavors of percussion, and feeling that energy that they took back with them that then carried much further than one single concert would any given year.
And we talked about getting to see like your heroes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like they see Paul Rennick walking through they're like, Mr. Shearer, is that Paul Rennick? or fill in the blank, whoever it is, And I'm like, yeah, it is. They're like, I'm going to go take a picture with him. It's so cool for them.
And what I also love that PASIC provides is also opportunities for them to perform and play, right?
Yes.
That, it definitely, I know I'm ancient, old as dust, right? But one of many people my age favorite components of drum corps was the solo and ensemble contest, which is slowly kind of faded away over the years. But PASIC still holds on to this opportunity, whether you're a high school student or a college student. And I can remember in some of these programs I've taught where maybe it's not Capel, maybe we can't bring the whole group, or maybe we can't record for day, but I have this one killer center snare, right? And they have a thing to work towards. And that's like to go here and I'm going to compete against like Tom Onk's son or something, right? You know what I mean? And my judge is going to be Jeff Prospery, right? You know, and Jeff Osdemore or something, right? You know what I mean? And it's, and just like Islas is saying, like 100% of the time, any student that we've been a part of at any program, at any level that has gone and competed, that plays, oh my gosh, Art Avila, the Troubadour del Paso, you know, I had the privilege of writing a snare ensemble for them years ago, and they did such a wonderful job with it. It was such a big deal for them to take it there. They played so wonderfully, and years later, we're out there clinicking, and they're still talking about it to this day. El Chupacabra. You go to TeamIslas.com if you want a copy. You know, still talking about it. And so I love that PASIC still provides that opportunity across the board, big or small, college, high school. And I mean, when you see, like, for example, the UNT snare ensemble or quad ensemble, there's still, there's the innovation. You know, back in the day, we used to always joke you would see something in I&E, you know, this quad soloist would win, and then a lot of that stuff would show up the next year in drum corps shows, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's an element of that. You know, you see that still exists. Thankfully, that PASIC is still pushing that. You know,
yeah, absolutely. You know, I also kind of like I said about the companies, like this isn't Amazon, right? These are small companies run by like the people you're meeting. Mm-hmm. And that's a cool, great opportunity. The same is true for the Percussive Arts Society itself, like for like PAS, right? Yeah. It's like PAS is not, I don't know what's a huge organization, you know, but like it's a fairly small thing run by like a handful of people. And I think that is such a cool direct connection you can have with them at the convention. And like I said, I've been as an attendee, as a teacher, as a clinician, as a performer, as a competitor. Like I've seen all of the ins and outs, the great things, the hard things, the things that didn't make sense to me at the time. Like, oh, why would you guys do this way? But it's like, I understand now, like, number one, there's only like 5 people running this whole thing, you know? Yeah. Number two, they are all the things that are happening are for a reason, and they are actually working very hard to make the experience great for everybody. Yep. Yeah. And that's not an easy thing to do, because you do have everybody from Chris Lamb to the Mastodon guitar player, right? Like that's a wide range. Yeah. But it is cool because the opportunity exists for you to get in there and talk with those people, meet those people, serve on a committee, like get involved, bring your group, and help to make the convention better next year.
Yeah. Now listen, it can be hard because PASIC happens at a time period in the year. For a lot of percussion educators, it is a very difficult time, the end of marching season. And that can vary for different programs depending on their level of commitment to all of that and activity and all of that. And it can be really hard to then, once you're finally on the other side of it, go like, okay, now I'm going to get on a plane and go out of town when all I want to do is just sit on my couch and watch Stranger Things and not move for the next week. But the whole reason we're doing this podcast is to advocate for why it is so important for you to just shut up and stop overthinking it and just go if you have the opportunity to go. I mean, it is inspiring for the students, but it's also inspiring for the educator, the musician in you, right? The whole reason that you became a teacher in the first place of this thing and have gone through all of the hoops to get here is because you love music and you love percussion. I know for me, one experience that stands with me is going to see Glenn Velez, this outstanding hand drum player. And it was in a small room, but it was packed. I mean, standing room only for everyone that knew what was up. And it was the first time I had seen anyone play a hand drum. I mean, he had, I think, probably a Pandero or a Rick or something that was mic'd up. And I had never heard it create that kind of a low, deep sound all the way to like the highest jingle sound. And I was just so incredibly impressed with how much music and creativity and technique could come from a single drum, like a drum with single head on it and one little jingle. It was so inspiring. And it sparked in me this idea of like, oh, you don't have to have the most elaborate setup or giant percussion ensemble or anything to make music that's really engaging. Yeah.
And I mean, I think all three of us have been so incredibly fortunate and blessed to attend just like a large number of incredible live musical concerts, right? From multiple genres, multiple musicians. But I mean, a couple years ago when we were there with Mike Lenish and Annie Chernow, and we were like kind of like front row or second row for Michelle Camilo.
Yes.
And I mean, it was unironically something like they played 6 songs and 4 of them got standing ovations. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was by far the largest standing ovation to perform it. Like, it, you know, and again, it goes back to that understanding. Is it's like, you can be a big fan of Afro-Cuban music, but when you have that deep rhythmic understanding that comes with percussion, that's the thing too. You're feeling that shared experience with everybody in the audience. You know, when he's hitting those E's and U's for 45 consecutive measures and then finally drops the one in the whole audience. Oh, you know what I mean? Or before that, there was a time with Pedro Martinez and Steve Gadd. People are literally on their feet dancing, right? You know, it's just really, it's a very, very, very special place to be, to go to become inspired and excited for the craft and the art of percussion.
What we should acknowledge on drum set at that concert, the Michelle Camilo concert, was Daphnis Prieto. I think I'm saying his last name correctly. And
Sabian Frying Pan.
Sabian Frying Pan on the right. And I think that's a good example. Now, maybe this was just me, but there are other examples at PASIC of like, I didn't really know a lot about him at that time. But PASIC is an incredible place to go like, whoa, who is that guy? Like, I heard this guy. Maybe I'd heard his name before. I'd certainly never heard him play live.
Oh, yeah.
He had probably, like, okay, we live in Texas. He probably had never played he might have never played in Dallas. I don't know. Right? Yeah. Like, it's not like somebody like him is coming through Dallas every weekend. So it's just an incredible place to, like, kind of discover in a very, like, real firsthand way people you didn't get to hear play before. You might not get to hear them play again.
Yep.
I know I heard percussion group Cincinnati one time, and I'd heard them at UNT, but then I saw they were playing at PASIC, and it was just like, it was like very avant-garde, like very different than the music I normally get to see, but just an amazing experience just in a random room at 10 a.m. in the morning, you know? And like you said, Doug, like, the collective experience you get watching concerts like that, I would argue, is actually better. Even if the concert was exactly the same, the collective experience is better at PASIC because you're watching it with a crowd full of drummers. And that was something I remember telling the students at Capel both times we went, hey, you will never perform for a better audience than this. Right? Like, the people in this audience appreciate what you're doing more than any other audience in the world. So you should enjoy that. And that's special as a performer, but also as an audience member.
Now, and hey, guys, listen, it is wonderful. Clearly, we love PASIC. I mean, I literally proposed to Miss Islas on the way to PASIC. Right? We love PASIC. But you can see some wheels off stuff at PASIC too.
Oh, yeah.
There's some turtlenecks involved in this operation, folks, right? Miss Islas, you remember ever seeing or experiencing some weirdness at PASIC?
Yeah, no, this is a minute ago. Back when the heat of the Nintendo Wii was really popular. So it's a second ago. But it was when I was getting into electronic music. I can't remember if I already owned a xylosynth or not, but I was really excited about what that area of music offered me. And there was an electronic specific clinic that was, or concert that was being performed. And so I made sure that I was there and I was in the front row or whatever. And I didn't know this artist at all. I hadn't heard of him, but it sounded interesting. Well, for his last piece that he performed, he had developed this Wii-like wand.
Sorry, did you say wand?
Wands, like Harry Potter wands kind of thing, like conductor, baton, but it was more wand than baton for sure. Maybe it even had some lights on it. But he would wave it around and it would create certain sounds, and he would like hit an imaginary symbol in the air and it would make a certain sound. Well, he had this piece that he had prepared, and it must have been a big deal because he was like, okay, now I'm going to get into performance mode. So he's wearing his, his white button-down shirt, and he rolls up the cuffs on his wrists. He rolls them up a little bit, shoves them up to his elbows, and then the last step of preparation was he unbuttoned his shirt a couple of buttons.
Oh, no.
And what did it sound like? Oh, I think you know what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. It's still 10 out of 10. Highly recommended.
You actually, that's part of the cool thing about PASIC is you kind of, sometimes you walk in, you don't know what's coming.
Yes,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you don't know
and
what's
that's kind of fun.
And there's a commitment to it, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, I love a commitment to it and a place where a person can do really wheels off avant-garde. We have definitely been we've experienced performances at PASIC that could only happen at PASIC.
That's right.
Yeah, that could only be appreciated and valued there, for sure. But I mean, yeah, again, just like, I can remember seeing Cindy Blackman. She had just gotten a skiing accident. So she shows up on stage, her arm in a cast, and threw down. She sounds better than I've ever sounded, with just like her left and her feet. You know what I mean? I think I was there with Mike Lemish, and we're just saying, and it's just like, what are we watching? It's just unreal, Wow. It is genuinely, the committee works very hard to bring in the best of the best and provide the best that they can for everyone, and I think that they do a great job of it.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Hey, thanks for hanging with us today, friends. If you have any questions for the podcast, please send them to TeamIslas@gmail.com. That's TeamIslas, TeamIslas @gmail.com. Shout out to all the great percussion companies that support Team Islas. That's Mapex Majestic Percussion, Dynasty Percussion, Remo Drumheads, Promark Sticks and Mallets, Sabian Cymbals, Beetle Percussion, and Lot Ride Apparel. One of the things that they have at PASIC is a ton of literature. I know a lot of people go there to pick up percussion ensembles, pick up new method books, but you don't have to attend PASIC to pick up some outstanding musical literature. If you're looking for method books or solos or percussion ensembles that have been commissioned for performance at PASIC, where should you go, Miss Islas?
You should go to TeamIslas.com.
Absolutely. You will find all of the above and more. Hey, if you can grid triplets with your Wii remote while making mochi on Rhythm Heaven Fever, boy, that's a deep cut. Then leave us a 5-star review. Remember, friends, step 1 is time. Step 2 is sound. Step 3 is subscribing to the Team Islas podcast.